Righty-dighty. Good morning, Mad Hatter Nation. We got our red shirt on, which means, of course, Victory Monday. That's right, boys and girls. It wasn't pretty at all. And up until the very, very end of the game, we only seen flashes of a team that we once knew that was dominating the NFC and winning divisional titles. But when it mattered most, that team reappeared. And shout out to Jahmyr Gibbs, my guy, Jahmyr Gibbs. Absolutely superhuman effort. And, we'll talk about wait until the very end to make an appearance in the game there, Aiden Hutchinson. But, when it mattered most, our guy made the play to end the game. That is ultimately what mattered is we ended the game, and we won in overtime behind the big leg of Jake Bates, extending us to overtime, despite our team playing down to our opponent, which we have done apparently all season long. I feel like we don't feel like we want to come out and set the tone, but we want to let our opponents come and set the tone for us, and then we will follow as they lead us through 3 3/4 of a game. I also am very concerned with the money that we paid Derek Barnes. Derek Barnes. I want to like you, Derek Barnes. I really want to like you. I admittedly hype you up a little bit on this channel, more so than I think you deserve. I fall back to that early career of yours where you were a little bit more of a pass rush guy, and, you seem to be quite the locker room presence and an overly pleasant individual to be around. Derek Barnes, if you are not going to be able to cover a 10-year veteran quarterback who is attempting to make his first career reception, and you let him make the catch, I can almost understand that because of the trickery. However, when you let famous Jameis then proceed to break a tackle and run into the end zone for a touchdown, I cannot make excuses for you anymore. I have nothing. You take all ground that I possibly could ever stand on, and you make it almost impossible for me to ever defend you again, because regardless of your divisional interception against the Tampa, Bay, Buccaneers 2 years ago to win that game, despite any plays you can make between now and the end of the year, short of becoming the defensive MVP this year in a very short period of time, I will never be able to have a counter argument to when people go, yeah, but that Jameis Winston touchdown, though, huh? Yeah, you're right. I don't know how. And let's be honest, guys, it's almost like they're just doing it for the meme now, or we are so accustomed to seeing it that are we ever gonna get any call our way? Now, I'm not saying every single call, but this is now 2 games in a row, and at least 3 instances in those 2 games, one with Chris Collinsworth and twice Jonathan Vilma and Kenny Albert, both said on television, I don't agree with that. And then let us look back to the interference on Jameson Williams, where Kenny Albert was like, yeah, he might have been interfered with there a little bit. And, of course, a no call. And then most egregiously, I think we all seen it. I'm not going to sit here and just beat a dead horse, but I think we all seen Jared Goff get kneed in the freaking head, right? Meanwhile, if Brian Branch wipes his ass with the wrong hand, he's catching a fine from the NFL. It's just, you got to make it make sense at some point. And the only sense that I can come to is it really is Detroit versus everybody. And until proven otherwise, meme has become reality. I'm going to continue to beat that dead horse until we finally start to get just even a slightest amount of calls in our direction. Do you guys realize that it took until week 12 of this week? This year, it took until week 12. This last game that we played was the first instance of a defender against the Detroit Lions getting flagged for a pass interference call. And Amon-Ra had to stand there and plead his case. Do you see what I'm saying? Are you picking up what I'm putting down now? Are we all, we don't know. We don't know. but we know you guys. We know. So the Lions did get a big win, and we keep chugging right along, right? The NFC North keeps, unless you're the Minnesota Queens, which is probably a reason why they're not doing so great, and that's the Princess J.J. McCarthy. Not doing so great, but the rest of the NFC North is kind of going to be a real slugfest, as they say, to go ahead and finish it. But somebody who's not going to be finishing the regular season is Raiders fired Chip Kelly, the highest paid coordinator in the NFL, after another disastrous performance. Kelly, who left Ohio State to join the Raiders, made it only through 11 games in his first year back in the league. And, someone has to take the blame here midseason. It's not like Pete Carroll's just going to, jump ship. You know what I'm saying? 1 year after coming out of retirement, someone's got to take the blame. Is it all Chip Kelly's fault? Look, I am not a Las Vegas Raiders of Oakland fan per se, so I don't follow them the way some of you guys do. But the few times I've seen them play, their offense is just outside of Brock Bowers. Yeah, you got Genty, but you're not utilizing them properly. There's no wide receivers. Geno Smith has been over the hill for the past 3 years. I mean, he was flash in the pan a year and a half in Seattle. Okay, he is just not. It's just tough sledding for a Las Vegas Raiders of Oakland fan. So they ended up firing Chip Kelly. We will talk a little bit about that. We do have an ESPN article here pulled up, and it is the biggest overreactions from Week 12 games. And there's a few things that we want to go ahead and highlight because they are talking about some NFC North opponents. We will peruse through that very quickly. Then I do want to go over to the New York Post just to get a little bit of a New York-centric take on the game. Giants crumble in crunch time yet again with gut-wrenching overtime loss to the Lions. I did see, I believe it was Rick, my guy Rick C. Yes, sir. The Giants aren't as bad as their record plays out to be. The Giants are what I call a very dangerous team. Okay, they do have playmakers. They just can't quite figure it out, every time. Obviously, you've seen them playing well against Detroit early and often. But they can't handle the success, and when you're going down the line there, they tend to fall apart. They do have a lot of good pieces on defense. I'm gonna be honest, that defense, especially that front four, front seven, that could be a very lethal front four, front seven for quite a while. I think New York has a solid foundation to build from. And Jameis went out there and did that Jameis thing. I was hoping that we would get the inverse of famous Jameis, where we would get 4-interception Jameis, not 400-yard Jameis. But whoever Tampa plays next week, go ahead and start that defense because Jameis is due for a 27-interception game. But we will take a little look here at how the Giants and the guys over there at the Big Apple are taking things, how they're feeling on Monday. It's not Victory Monday for them. Before we're walking it over to DetroitLions.com, senior beat writer Tim 2020. Man, Week 12 observation. That's right, we got the observations from the game. And as long as time allows, we got 5 winners and 7 losers from Detroit's overtime win over the New York Giants. John Whitaker over at Pride of Detroit's got some interesting takes, and I'm not necessarily disagreeing with hardly any of his stuff. He's got a pretty good winners, pretty good losers. I kind of like where we're going with that, guys. If you take a look up in the poll or up in the chat, there is a poll. How are we feeling after yesterday's thriller? W is a W with 78% of the 18 votes. 22% of you say, WTF, Barnes. Yeah, that's the camp I'm in, is what? Derek Barnes. And here I am in my yard next to my mailbox in my driveway with egg. And I'm not going to be just sending out flowers. Alex Anelzone. Letting a couple of big tackles slip away from him. Guys, do we see Anzalone getting re-signed? Do we see Anzalone being re-signed to the Detroit Lions? I just think he's taking a big, massive step back. I think Jack Campbell's the future of the linebacker room for the Detroit Lions, and I think Malcolm Rodriguez, once fully reintegrated into the team, should be the heir apparent to Alex Anzalone, and that's no slight against him. He's just not where he was 2-3 years ago, and that's just how the game is played. If you guys could, though, go ahead and do me a favor. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Ring that notification bell so that you never miss out on any of our updates Monday through Friday. As well as before every Lions game, we do go live with a little pregame show, a little digital tailgate, if it were, and that will be our Thursday show. Look for us to be live about 11:30-ish because, like I said, Hat and Boobs and I got to go to church in the morning, so things will be a little different on Thursday, but we will just do our show / digital tailgate. It'll be kind of a hodgepodge, a casserole, if you were. It'll be a casserole of show for us there on Thanksgiving. So make sure you bring a dish to pass to that show. We'd really appreciate it, guys. Like the video and share this around with all your friends. It's the number one way to get the show to grow. We are very close to 800 subscribers. So now that we've done all that stuff, guys, let's go ahead and dive into the show.
If you can say the word good, guess what? It means you're still alive. It means you're still breathing. And if you're still breathing, well, then hell, you still got some fight left in you. So get up, dust off, reload, recalibrate, re-engage, and go out on the attack.
Hell yeah. Kane says he'll bring the tater tots and the sweet tea. That's awesome, brother. I'm on board with that. I see you guys in Mad Hatter Nation are kind of on board with it, where we're seeing basically just a lot of confirmation bias, the offensive coordinator not doing so great, Apparently Goff was not on that Brack Wright shit yesterday. It's not like he wasn't open in the end zone, though. I agree with you, Kane. What's up, Brandy? Good to see you, Sister Clary says, yeah, the offensive coordinator's got to go. Rick, yeah, dude, the refs did totally confer or prove your point, dude. You legit. I think you actually said that verbatim, that quarterbacks can get kicked in the head. I think you actually said that in the show earlier in the week. Jay, yes, 100%. People are forgetting that the Giants nearly beat the Packers and the Broncos. The Giants, the record indicates that they're a bad team, but they're not a bad team. They're a very dangerous team. They're a team who's going to make teams' playoff hopes very complicated. Very, very complicated by winning against teams they're not supposed to win. They almost screwed us. Think about how devastating that would have been if we'd have lost to the Giants. You know what I'm saying? WTF Barnes is what I was thinking. Derek, dude, it was like I was so mad. I was mad and embarrassed for Derek Barnes. Rick, you said it yesterday morning. That's what it was. Okay, dude. I remember you saying that like damn near verbatim, brother. You were like, no, the quarterbacks can straight get kicked in the head. Jared Goff will get kicked in the head. And you were right, dude. You were right. J-Mo with 0 catches. Brent, I know, brother. I know. And the thing is I was all high on it with J-Mo being reintegrated in the. I was like, all right, J-Mo has established himself now. Keep that J-Mo train rolling. And we kind of maybe assumed that some of the production from Laporta would go to J-Mo, right? Maybe a little bit more uptick in production from him. Come to find out, looks like our offense is going to run through Jahmyr Gibbs. It looks to be, and that's not a bad thing. You just don't want your offense to be completely hung on one guy. Now, Amon-Ra, yes, was a little upsy-downsy, and we know that he's got a bone bruise on his wrist. I do still believe that he's a little bit too much about Amon-Ra the brand, not Amon-Ra the man. And then you realize that there was that psychological aspect of it of him hitting that 500 catches. That could have been, in my opinion, a major hiccup to him, is that he's counting down the catches because he's about to surpass Michael Thomas, most over 500 catches in the shortest amount of years. Amon-Ra is on a historic pace. He's absolutely shredding it. And then once you've seen he hit that 500th catch, it kind of turned around. Obviously, that tip turned INT was a little bit befuddling. You know what I'm saying? We don't like to see that. But I just think that this is the year that Jahmyr Gibbs is leaned into. I was expecting to see more David Montgomery. Maybe if the game script had gone a little bit differently, we would have seen more Monty, but we kind of needed Jameer to do all of the things that he did. We said, hey, boy, go put this S on your chest and carry us to victory. And, oh, by golly, if that first play in overtime wasn't a perfect encapsulation of what Jahmyr Gibbs means to this team. Vilma said it a couple times. Every time he touches the ball, you just kind of hold your breath because you're waiting for him to take it to the house. And he's incredibly dangerous, incredibly lethal, and you understand now why Brad Holmes drafted him. You know what I'm saying? We do, Clarice. We have got to get our poop together for Thursday. No excuses. I would recommend we double dose on some Metamucil and get our fiber together to get our poop back in a group because the team that we've seen the last 2 weeks in Philadelphia and then for some home cooking here just yesterday, that team is exactly the team that loses Thanksgiving to the Packers. Hold it against them. Did we really lose our connection? If we play that against the Cheeseheads, we're toast 100%. Guys, sorry about things getting cut out there. OBS is hiccuping a little bit for me, guys. Skipper going to play a lot against the Packers to help Parsons and Gary. I think you're right, Jay, and that's absolutely have to do. So we're probably going to get a little out in the weeds, and I might fade these national news segments. But I think that we need to look at the tape. Okay, so moving forward with our offensive line. Look, I have said it for the entire season. Taylor Decker, not so good, okay? Not so good. Not great, not terrible, right? He is okay. The Laporta production needs to go to Tesla. I agree. They need him now. We did see Tesla out there quite a bit running some routes, but just getting that good cardio in. And I think he had like one target where Goff missed a little wide. But I do agree with you. I'd like to see a little bit more Isaac Tesla out there. But what was I saying? Okay, so we need to take the tape and we need to see for our offense how to better protect Jared Goff against edge rushers. Now, there's not a whole lot you can do when Graham Glasgow is just getting bulldozed back into the quarterback. There's not much you can do, and this is something we've seen it. It's going to happen at least once a game because we've seen it happen at least once a game with Keoti Awashika. He is a talented offensive lineman. He's not a starting offensive lineman because of one thing. What does Awashika do time after time after time? He gets his nose out over his toes. He leans too damn far forward, and a third-round draft pick defensive tackle out of fucking Toledo, okay, can take advantage of that by utilizing your leverage against you, and he gets pulled, pushed, and twisted, and the defensive tackles just run right past him, okay? So Awashika, not so great in the pass pro, and it's going to happen at least once a game because it's happened at least once a game whenever he's in there. He gets his nose out over his toes, and defensive tackles take advantage of it. It is what it is. But we need to, obviously, Penny can do Penny things, and unfortunately, Penny, I'm sorry, brother, but you are so good that I need you to continue to be a one-man wrecking crew out there on at the tackle spot because I have to allocate other assets to protecting the quarterback. And what we need to do is we need to look at see how teams have been minimalizing Aiden Hutchinson. I watched it all game long. I had borderline a complete meltdown over it because I watched Aiden Hutchinson get blocked by two tight ends and not be able to get to the quarterback. And I noticed what the offensive scheme is to limiting Aiden Hutchinson, and it's exactly what we need to do against top-flight Micah Parsons defensive ends, and that is you need to commit one offensive lineman and one other asset, being it a running back or a tight end or two tight ends or a tight end and a running back. You need to figure out a way to double-team the top-flight defensive end to minimize their impact on the game. Jared Goff needs a cunt hair more time in the pocket. So what I'm going to need you to do is I'm going to need you to start. Jahmyr Gibbs needs to spend some time with Hank Fraley in pass pro because Gibbs, unfortunately, for all as great as he is whiffed on a couple of big pass blocks the last two games that have led to Jared Goff getting absolutely smoked. Okay? No slight against Gibbs. It's just the reality of the situation. But we're going to need to start committing Jahmyr Gibbs along with or Jahmyr Gibbs or a Brock I can't block right or a Ross Smelly Dwelly to help out on one side of the offensive line in pass pro because Decker is going to be he's getting taken advantage of. Awashika is not the answer, and Graham Glasgow is just fucking up every way to Sunday. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to isolate Penne one-on-one. Hopefully nobody sends a blitz from that other end. You're going to have to commit one man and then slide three plus a 4. You're going to have to go with a 6th-man protection almost all the time, 6 versus 4, so that you always have the numbers on one side of the protection. You're just going to have to roll away. You've seen the Giants do it all game to Aiden Hutchinson. You commit 2 guys, a double-team pass pro, whether it be a chip or a full-on double-team pass block, to the dominant defensive end. You then have a 4 versus 3 offensive lineman mismatch against the other 4 down offensive or defensive linemen. So unless they send a blitz, which, if you send a blitz against a guy like Jared Goff, he can either get you or you can get him. If he's smart, he's going to throw at the blitz, and if he's under a lot of pressure, he's going to get sacked. Historically, it hasn't really worked out for Jared Goff up until these last couple of years. That's neither here nor there. But if you're sliding the protection, say you got Parsons lined up on Decker on the left-hand side, okay, so then you're going to commit Decker one-on-one isolation block, and then you're going to send a tight end or a running back to help him out. You're going to want to push him all the way out to the left side, and then you're going to want to slide the protection along the right-hand side to have a mismatch in numbers, a 4 versus 3, and then roll Jared Goff away from the pass rush. Unfortunately, that's probably how it's going to have to be. You're going to have to start to move the offensive line a little bit, because standing with our feet in cement and our toes well under our nose, Keone Awashika, is not going to be the solution. We need to figure out a way to move Jared Goff away from the pass rush, which is unfortunately not something he's really that good at. He's not considering a mobile quarterback. It's like watching Drew Bledsoe out there try and run around like a human stone statue. But I think that what we've seen with how Aiden Hutchinson, and now I figured out what they've been doing to Aiden Hutchinson, is he's just been getting double teamed. And this is unfortunately, Tyleek has played really well, and we do have Aleem the Dream McNeil, you know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, what you're seeing is, where is the running mate to Aiden Hutchinson? For the first few weeks of the season, it was Al-Qadim Muhammad, and he has been rendered absolutely useless. I need more pass rush. I need some type of a defensive end, or I need better blitzing out of our linebackers. But right now, I'm not too confident in any of our linebackers, because Jack Campbell needs to make 11 fucking tackles a game. Derek Barnes can't cover a fucking 10-year vet quarterback, pocket passing quarterback, who needed LASIK surgery midway through his career because he was so goddamn blind out there catching passes and running it in for a touchdown. And Alex Anzalone seems to have lost a step, dude. So I don't understand how we're supposed to generate pass rush when there is nobody outside of Aiden Hutchinson seemingly getting home. Did I just black pill myself? What's up, Beaver Nugs? Good to see you, brother. How you doing, man? All right. Shep is going to be chewing some butts today. Secondary was cheeks. Ain't that the truth, Brent, dude? Secondary was rough, dude. What's up, Kerry? Good morning, dude. Who's backup for Glasgow? That would be Tristan Colin. I actually think he's played as good as Glasgow, if not just a little bit better than Graham Glasgow. And when you look at them standing side by side to each other with helmets on, they look like damn near the same player. Sammy is a tough loss. It takes multiple people stepping up to replace Laporta, doesn't it, though, dude? What's up, Nick? 2830. I'm curious if Miles Frazier gets a look on Thursday. Oh, hey, Nick. Nick. All right, brother. Now we're cooking with gas, dude. Now you're on the same brainwave as me, dude. I was like, all right, let me see what Frazier's got. I can't do this Keone Awashika shit anymore. Let me see what Frazier's got. Get him out there. Get it. See if he's got, kick the tires on him. You know what I'm saying? He could be mahogany all over again, dude. And then we're just sitting high on the hog. You know what I'm saying? But I am just not wild about Awashika. He would be a great bullfighter. Ole! How about them Cowboys? Yeah, Kerry, how about them Cowboys, huh? Cowboys doing what we couldn't do and beating the Eagles in a way we couldn't do it by running Javonte Williams. Crazy. Wild. Now, there is that whole thing, Dak is like 22-2 against divisional opponents at home. Our O-line consists of 2 backups and a rookie. That is 100% true, Rick. Decker was washed. This is likely his last season in the NFL. Rick, and I actually thought last year was I thought we were going to see the inverse of Taylor Decker and Frank Ragnow, where I thought Decker was going to retire last year and Ragnow would stick around for another year. Problem is, Pack moved Parsons everywhere. He comes from the middle a lot. I know, dude. I know. That's the thing with Parsons. And I have spent the majority of Micah Parsons' career not being a Micah Parsons fan because of the whole Lions should have taken Parsons over Sewell argument that I've heard a few times. But the facts are the facts, and Micah Parsons is a generational defensive talent. Unfortunately, they had the Packers versus Vikings on Fox in Florida, so I didn't get to watch. Ew, dude, Detroit Lionheart, that sucks, bro. That sucks, man. They gave you guys the Packers game? Ugh, gross, dude. I'm sorry to hear that, brother. That's unfortunate. Decker also has a problems with Rashawn Gary in the past. Hope he's better Thursday. Yeah, Brent, you are correct. You are very right. And Decker, and the thing with Decker is he's getting older. He needs a little bit of time to recover, and this short week is going to be really difficult for a guy like Taylor Decker. I think get players back for Thursday. DC kept kept Kirby and Arnold. Okay, all right, Jay, that's what I like to hear. Okay, so it sounds like it was more of a coach's decision on Kirby and Arnold then. Okay. Woo, brother, I ain't gonna lie. I was getting a little worked up about Kirby Joseph. I was getting a little nervous about Kirby Joseph. Detroit Lionheart, yeah, Barnes. And the thing is, we just paid Barnes all that damn money, dude, and he looks so bad. Put Monty with the lineman to protect Goff. He'll kill it. I know, Mom. I know. We've been surviving off the Legion of whom too long. Our DBs are hurt more than a battered wife. Ain't that the truth, dude? And, it's not that our Legion of Whom is bad per se. We got some guys that can splash, but you just don't want to be relying on them the whole year. I really, really need DJ Reed to really get back to where he was during the Cleveland game, and TA needs to come back with a vengeance. Kirby is definitely missed, Beaver Nugs. I agree with you, dude. There is I was telling Hat and Boobs, those passes where famous Jameis was just lobbing it, literally lobbing it up into the air, just throwing up a prayer. Those are the passes that historically Kirby Joseph just flies in out of nowhere and picks off. You know what I'm saying? That's just one of them that just he comes out of nowhere and just snatches it out of the air. Most of those big ass plays would have been INTs with Kirby. Oh yeah, shit. Yeah, Rick. Yeah. Saying the exact same thing. Speaking of Kirby Joseph, where the hell's Mr. Detroit City? I just realized that. Where the hell's Mr. Detroit City at? Y'all seen him at all today? I was expecting something out of him, but damn, yo. Hopefully he's all right. All right, guys, let's just jump past this and get right into the Lions news now that we're a half hour into the show, and there's really no sense in talking anything else other than the Lions right now. Because we are, it's Victory Monday, and Victory Monday feels so good. Oh, so good. So, over here at the New York Post, Giants crumble in crunch time yet again with gut-wrenching overtime loss to the Lions. Well, what did you expect in the end? Expecting the Giants to go into Ford Field and upset a heavily favored Lions team in desperate need of a win to keep its playoff hopes intact felt akin to expecting to see your numbers come up in the next pick six drawing. Expecting the Giants defense to hold off the explosive Detroit offense when it counted in the fourth quarter? Well, that was a folly. In the end, the Giants, as expected, lost 34-27 to the Lions in overtime on Sunday in a positively I do not know what that word is or how to pronounce that. Scintillating? Scintillating. All right, boys and girls, would you like to be my neighbor? Let's figure out what this means.
Scintillating.
Scintillating. Sparkling or shining brightly, brilliantly or excitingly, clever or skillful. Okay. Now we know what scintillating means. Scintillating 60 minutes of football theater. Quote, we came here on a mission, and we didn't complete that mission. We have to find a way, whatever it takes. We're willing and able to do it. We are desperate for a win, says Jameis Winston. The final dagger for the Giants on this demoralizing day was a 69-yard touchdown run by the Lions running back Jahmyr Gibbs on the first play of overtime after the Giants won the toss and opted to take the ball second. The Giants, on their possession, failed to tie the game, and it was over for them yet again. In a gut punch so painful, you cannot make it up. Converting on a 4th and 10 play with Winston scramble, the Giants got to Detroit's 27-yard line after Gibbs' touchdown before their hopes were completing this massive upset were extinguished. The final play was Aiden Hutchinson's sack of Winston on 4th and 5, and I was like, I kept telling Hat and Boobs, I was like, she's like, I want an interception. I was like, no, we need Aiden Hutchinson to have the game-winning sack. Not only is it good to have the sacks, but he has been so quiet for so long now. We need the splash play to be made. You know what I'm saying? I need him. I need Aiden Hutchinson to make a play to further build the hype. You know what I'm saying? To keep the mystique, the energy, the lore around. The massive caveat to this loss now is how well the Giants played in losing. They did so many good things in the game, beginning with the play of Winston. This loss might have been the most maddening one in all season, littered with them. With Winston, who was playing in place of rookie Jackson Fart and Dart with concussion protocol, the Giants built a lead of 10-0 and then 17-7 in the first half. The first 30 minutes, Winston was almost perfect, 9 of 14 for 218 yards and 2 touchdowns with a passer rating of 147.3. He was remarkable, completing 18 of 36 for 366 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Even better, Winston caught a touchdown pass from punt returner and occasional receiver Gunnar Olszewski, the first reception of his career and first touchdown pass of Olszewski's career. The wild backyard play gave the Giants a 27-17 lead with 12:16 remaining in the game. And that's when things got weird for them, as usual. The Lions answered rapidly 3 plays later with a 49-yard touchdown run by Gibbs, who rushed for 219 yards and 2 touchdowns on 15 carries to make it 27-24 with just a minute 26 after the Giants' trick play. On the next Giants possession, Winston was picked off by safety Thomas Harper, who's playing. Thomas Harper is playing out of his mind. With 10 minutes and 45 seconds left remaining in the game, the Lions failed to convert, and the Giants went 14 plays and ate nearly 6 minutes of the clock before failing on a 4th and goal from the Detroit 6-yard line with 2 minutes and 54 seconds remaining. Our decision, I thought, was a correct one, and I stand by it. Giants interim head coach Mike Kafka said of going for the touchdown on 4th and goal from the 6-yard line. We had the opportunity at the end of the game, and it really took a good team to overtime. We've got to find a way to finish those games. Winston blamed himself in the end for missing tight end Theo Johnson in the 2nd and goal from the 2-yard line before it got down to the 4th goal. Yeah, that's basically it. I'm not going to read what Jameson Williams has to say about it. We know how the story went. We ended up coming back to win. I do have to say, though, I was very impressed with Mike Kafka. Were you guys as impressed with Mike Kafka as I was? I thought that Mike Kafka coached a really good game. I don't know if Mike Kafka is going to be able to coach his way into a head coaching job this coaching go-around. But what I will say is if it comes down to it next year, and obviously Johnny Moe Screens is no longer with the Detroit Lions, I would be very happy with Mike Kafka calling the plays in Detroit. Simply put, when you look at the measurements of the players that the Giants were utilizing, Wan'Dale Robinson was giving me very Amon-Ra St. Brown vibes. The running game, not so great, but that's because their offensive line, not so great. But imagine what he could do with a guy like Gibbs or a guy like David Montgomery. Jameis Winston and Jared Goff, both traditional pocket passers, and you've seen the way he was able to execute and design plays for Jameis Winston in Jameis Winston's strong suits. They also drew up a couple of wackadoo trick plays, very similar to what Ben Johnson used to do here in Detroit. I like Mike Kafka. I think he would be a hand-in-glove fit here in Detroit as the offensive coordinator. I think we have a lot of similarities. How do you feel about that, Madden Hatter Nation? How are we feeling about the idea of maybe a Mike Kafka being the next OC in Detroit? If Hassan's going to play Thursday, that would be a big help. Oh, dude, you guys. Who said that? Jay, you're crushing it today, Jay. You are, Jay, you're bringing on MVP numbers today, brother. If Hassan ain't gonna play Thursday, that would be a big help on the edge. Is he? I don't know. But think of the lore that would build. His first game, the Thanksgiving Day John Madden Classic against the Packers, and he gets a monster sack on Jordan Love, dude. Wouldn't it be nice if Hassanin played? Then we wouldn't have to wait so long. You know what I'm saying? C is silent. Oh, gotcha, Mom. Appreciate it. Yeah. I accidentally closed the window. Appreciate it. I totally forgot what the word is already. Clientele? Is that what the word? Scintillating. Kind of like scintillating. Got that good public school education, that phonetics with Kraft out. The cheddars are dimensional. That dude, yeah. And also with Kraft gone, they don't have a great receiving option. I mean, obviously they do have weapons there, but is Jacobs going to play on Thursday? No way Jameis does that to us with Kirby on the field. I completely agree, Detroit. I completely agree, dude. The Giants' fourth quarter losses are crazy. Yeah, Nick, dude. Shout out Nick, bro. I don't think I've seen you in the chat before, bro, but I'm liking what you're putting down, dude. That was the one thing, dude, is that the Giants, that's why I say they're a dangerous team, because they just kind of fall apart in the fourth quarter. If the Giants could put a game together, 4 full quarters of what we've seen against the Detroit Lions, the Giants would be a playoff team. If that was the product defensively and offensively that you've seen for 4 straight quarters of football, the Giants would be a very scary team. I think the future is very bright in the Big Apple. That's why, personally, I wasn't so wild about him firing Brian Daboll. I think it was just he's more of a victim of circumstance. There's just not a lot of dogs there to bark. No neighbors, no scatterbo, no dart. You know what I'm saying? There's just not a lot of weapons. Yeah, you got this one insane game against the Legion of Whom in Detroit, right? But you still lost, you know. I think the pieces are there, but maybe Daboll just wasn't the guy to put it all together. Maybe he'd already lost the locker room. I don't know. I'm not a Giants fan, but I can tell you that the product I seen yesterday against the Detroit Lions, if there was 4 full quarters of that team, there's no way Detroit wins that game. No way. I called the first and last plays in OT. Hell yeah, Rick. That's what's up, brother. Detroit shot themselves in the foot last year when they got rid of Isaiah Williams. Yeah, dude, Isaiah Williams was pretty dangerous, bro. When 4th and goal, that was a foolish and cost them the game. Rick, dude, I agree, brother. I agree it was foolish of them. I understand the play he was trying to make. The thing is look, quit trying to out Dan Campbell. You know what I'm saying? Like, quit trying to out Dan Campbell. I run Brian Danilo. Who's Brian Danilo, Carrie? Mike Kafka auditioned for the Lions yesterday. His best called game. Nick, you're feeling it then, huh? Bro, dude, Mike Kafka, I was like, damn, dude, this guy can call some plays, brother. Daboll, gotcha. You like Brian Daboll? And, you know, Carrie, I'm on that Brian Daboll train as well. I kind of thought he'd be a good I actually thought that we were going to bring Brian Daboll in as a special assistant after he was fired because we had Philly the next week. And in my opinion, at the time, Philadelphia was the biggest hump to get over to get to the Super Bowl. That would be epic for Hassanin. Wouldn't it, though, Mom? Wouldn't that be absolutely epic if Hassanin, like, it would just build up his lore even more. You know what I'm saying? It'd be even more interesting. Well, guys, let's go ahead and take some observations from Week 12. Since this has just been a Lions-centric episode, we might as well just keep on with the Lions. DetroitLions.com. 12 observations, or Week 12 observations from Tim 20-Man. Speed kills. Ain't that the truth? Running back Jahmyr Gibbs reached 22.17 miles per hour on his 69-yard game-winning touchdown run in Sunday, which was the second fastest recorded speed by a ball carrier on a touchdown this season, according to Next Gen Stats. The only time a touchdown was faster than what Gibbs hit on Sunday was when Jahmyr Gibbs hit a 22.23 on his 78-yard touchdown run Week 7 against the Bucs. Gibbs totaled 264 scrimmage yards and 3 touchdowns in Detroit's 34-27 win over the New York Giants on Sunday. I got the best seat in the house, quarterback Jared Goff said of Gibbs. It's really cool. I think I put my hand up. He was about 7 yards downfield. It's just you can see the angle he's about to take and the angle the safety had. It's over, and that's what makes him so special, that next level speed. We were actually, Hat and Boobs and I were talking about it because she was like, he got past the line of scrimmage and Penei Sewell's already doing this. And I was like, yeah, because the angle that Penei Sewell can see it from, they've ran that play so many times, and he knows how fast Jahmyr Gibbs is that he knew Gibbs already had the angle. He already knew Gibbs had beaten everyone on the field by then. You know what I'm saying? There's just a certain energy, a certain like flow everything has, and you're just like, kaboom, off you go. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me. Favorite run play. The touchdown run by Gibbs in OT came on one of Detroit's favorite run plays. It's a duo run play that every offense runs. It's Detroit's running it behind right tackle Penei Sewell and right guard Tate Ratledge, asking those two to get good deuce blocks that require them getting up to the second level and sealing off the linebacker. It's been a good run for the Lions in the offense. Goff said after the game he was excited to run it when it came through the headset from Coach Dan Campbell in OT because Gibbs has broken big runs off in the past. Pass defense, New York had nearly 400 yards of passing and had an incredible 10 completions of 20-plus yards in the contest. Detroit has to get back to playing a little stickier coverage in the back end before Green Bay rolls into town Thursday. A little more pressure on the quarterback can help with that too. Yes, it can, but if we're to believe the scuttlebutt we're seeing over here with Scataboom and Neighbors out, yeah, dude, Winston is dangerous because he pushes the ball downfield. Lions would sit in cover 4. He would go intermediate sideline over the corners' heads, cover 1 single high. Yeah, dude, you're right, Nick, and that's kind of the thing about Jameis Winston is he's been in the league 10 years, dude. He knows how to fire the ball downfield, and he knows how to read defenses, you know. Rick, I agree with you now. I said at the time the Eagles were, but I agree with you. I think the Rams are the biggest hump in the NFC. I actually think the Rams are poised to make a strong Super Bowl run. In a way, Winston is more dangerous than Dart at this point. Dart has more short and intermittent passer with ability to run. Winston is hot and cold. Nick, and that's the thing, dude, is Jameis Winston will always do that Jameis Winston thing. He's just gonna launch that fucker downfield. Come hell or high water, he's launching the deep ball. He don't give a shit. Yeah, it might be an interception. He don't care. He's on the sidelines eating crab legs. He already forgot. Tackling machine. Mike linebacker, action Jack Campbell totaled another 11 tackles on Sunday to pace Detroit's defense, which now gives him 108 tackles on the season. That is absolutely insane. 108 tackles through 12 weeks. Damn, dude, he's averaging almost 10 tackles a game. That's absolutely insane. He is the first player in franchise history to produce a season with at least 100 tackles, 4 sacks, 2 forced fumbles since at least 1994 when the data first began being collected. That's very impressive. I mean, now, I'm going to be honest, we haven't had that great of linebacker play historically. There aren't, just guy after guy after guy after guy. We've had some guys, but we've never had, at least in my opinion, or in the modern era, outside of maybe a Spielman, a guy like Action Jack Campbell, who is just everywhere, who has taken that great big old step forward that I told you guys he was going to make. Penalty anomaly. The Lions were the only team in the NFL who had yet to receive a pass interference penalty called on the opposing defense. That changed Sunday when safety Dane Belton was flagged for pass interference on Lions wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown in the end zone. Detroit got the ball at the 1-yard line, and St. Brown scored 3 plays later on a pass from Goff. It only took 12 weeks, but the Lions finally got their pass interference call. Now we can wait another 12 weeks to get another one, which means we won't get another one until, what do we got? 6? Yeah, there's not enough weeks. We won't see one until next season. Short week. There's no time to celebrate for the Detroit Lions with Thursday's annual Thanksgiving Day Classic fast approaching. In fact, the Lions coaches were headed from Ford Field to the Meyer Performance Center Sunday to start putting in game plan for Thursday. Goff said after the game he was headed home to start watching film on the Packers defense. These short weeks are tough on players and coaches. Long distance. Let's go. Jake Big Leg Bates. 59-yard field goal to send the game into OT was a new career long for the second-year kicker. It also tied the franchise record long field goal. Bates has now made 4 field goals of 58 yards or longer, tying Matt Prater for the most in franchise history. And correct me if I'm wrong, isn't Matt Prater still kicking out in, Arizona? Yo, did I just see that? Art. You're not wrong, Art. Art says Barnes got mossed yesterday. Bro, you're not wrong, dude. It was just the ugliest mossing ever, dude. Oh, bro. 50 and counting. Sunday was the 50th career NFL game for Aiden Hutchinson, whose sack of Winston on 4th and 5 in OT won the game for Detroit. Hutchinson and Pittsburgh's T.J. Watt are the only players in NFL history to total at least 37 sacks, 4 interceptions through the first 50 games of a player's career. That's awesome. Hutchinson's sack Sunday allowed him to pass Ndamukong Suh's 36 for 7th most in franchise history. That's a pretty cool stat to have. I will asterisk that and say Ndamukong Suh would have probably 60 sacks had he stayed a Lion forever, but that's some great production. Let's take a look at the locker room celebration.
You don't know exactly how the game's going to go, and you guys just kept swatting it back, man, buying your time, and we made the stop we needed to. Hutch, great job there at the end. It was unbelievable. Our offense when we needed it, Bates, all that. We'll get to this here in a minute, but I'm telling you, man, you don't know how to ride it. You don't know what's going to happen. You just find a way to win, okay? You find a way to win. The big thing this week is going to be Green Bay, right? We got about 3 days off here. Not 3 days off, but 3 days to get ready for it. All right, and then we go 2-0. We go 2-0. All right, we just won one. 1 of 3 basically at home. That's a way to just hang in there, man, and find a way. All right, we got to clean some up, too, along the way while we get ready for Green Bay. All right, give me this. Here, game ball. All right, the first one here. I'm not even going to go through stats. Hutch, come on, man. That's a hell of a big time, dude. Big time. I appreciate you, fellas. This is this next stretch, man. This is step 1. We got to keep going. We got bigger goals than this, and we got to go to that. So 5, man. 5 punts, 200 yards, 40-yard average, 4 inside the 20. I'm pretty sure 3 of those were inside the 10, man. You talk to ask the defense if they like that.
Yeah, Jake Bates, field relocation specialist.
Shout out to everybody on the punt team, man. It takes everybody to play on punt and to do our job, so thank you guys.
This is going to go to a player, but this does involve everybody, man. It involves more than him, but my guy is electric, all right? 15 carries, 219 yards, 2 touchdowns. 11 catches, 45 yards, 1 tug. That's 264 total scrimmage yards. Jameer Gibbs!
He looked right at him. Missed him.
All right, man, that's 1. Let's
Yo.
get ready, man. Get your...
Shout out real quick. I just want to point out. Let's see if we can get this. I'm trying to read the plates. So if you look behind here, this is clearly the offensive lineman. Glasgow, Sewell, Awashika right there, Dan Skipper, Colin, someone else over here. Is Jameer Gibbs' locker with all the offensive linemen, dude? Like, I can see. So the only reason it jumped out to me is Dan Campbell spun around and looked right at him, but of course he missed him. He's hiding with all the offensive linemen, yo. That's awesome. Gibbs is an alien. Yeah, he is, dude. MCDC is a cool dude. Dude, I would run through a friggin' brick wall for MCDC, guys. He's the man, dude. He's the man, bro. Rick, dude, bro. That field goal would have been good from 63, but missed from 57. Bro, that curve. Oh, dude. I was like, no! And then it just, like, nudged back at the last second, bro. Oh, yeah, that was wild as hell. Colon in the anal zone, huh? Yeah, dude. You like you like that, Detroit or Lionheart? You like that, brother? I got names for everybody, dude. I got names for everybody. All right, let's run through the wieners and losers. Ultimate winner, Jameer Gibbs. Lions flat out do not win this game without Jameer Gibbs. The running back put the team on his back in every facet. Running the ball, how about 219 yards, 15 carries, and 2 touchdowns, one of which came on the first play of overtime in a game-winning effort. If the run game is not to your liking, how about a complimentary 45 yards and a touchdown on 11 catches, including an always deadly Texas route? We have always known Gibbs can take over a game with his electric skill set, but this is arguably his magnum opus of dominance when the Lions needed to play. It was Gibbs to the rescue. His ability to turn modest gains into sprinting touchdowns is nearly unmatched in the NFL. He has the speed of Jameson Williams and the rushing ability of Saquon Barkley. It is dangerous to throw around these words, but his performance, you guys see it, I'm not making it up, was Barry Sanders-esque, and I completely agree with that. Wiener and loser. It's rare to list a receiver with 149 yards and a touchdown as a loser, but you would be hard-pressed to call this an overwhelmingly great day for St. Brown. The normally sure-handed receiver had 2 killer drops on Sunday. The first was an easy reception that turned into a 3-and-out. Not the end of the world, but a troubling trend. However, his second drop almost cost the Lions the game. On his third down, deep in Giants territory, the ball bounced off St. Brown's mitts and into the arms of Javon Holland. At the time, the Lions were trailing 20-17, so the drop likely cost Detroit a field goal, which would have tied the game, or a touchdown, which would have given them the lead. Instead, the Lions walked away from a 10-play, 70-yard drive with a big ole egg for points. Assuming these plays are recorded drops, this will bring St. Brown's season total to 7. His career high came in 2023 with 8 drops, but that also came with a whopping 164 targets, a number St. Brown is unlikely to approach with 6 games left in the season. For some reason, St. Brown's hands are simply not up to par this season. While he is still a stellar receiver and Goff's go-to option, the drops have come at inopportune times. That being said, he still delivered some clutch catches to help facilitate the Lions' comeback. Hard to complain too much about that. I say as I spent most of this section complaining. Big losers would be our pass rush and coverage, which do we even have a pass rush at this point? Under normal circumstances, the return of starting quarterback DJ Reed would bolster a defense that has already been playing at a high level. Instead, the Lions took a significant step back against the Giants offense, trotting out backups at multiple positions. And you guys seen it. I went shout out Detroit Sports Talk when he broke the news just yesterday that DJ Reed was active and playing. You guys seen me. I went absolutely bananas over here. After recording 5 sacks against the Vikings in Week 9, the Lions' pass rush has not so quietly fallen off a cliff. The only players bringing consistent pressure were Aiden Hutchinson and Roy Lopez. Names like Al-Qadim Muhammad, Aleem McNeil, and Tyleek Williams have been largely absent in terms of rushing the passer. Over the previous 3 games, the Lions have had just 4 sacks from Lopez 1, Hutch 1.5, Brian Branch with 1.5, despite facing exploitable offensive lines. On Sunday, Jameis Winston had far too much time to operate, dicing up a secondary with easy passes. During the rare occasion he was pressured, he typically managed to elude the would-be tackler. The first sack of the game, courtesy of Hutchinson, came on the final play of overtime. So while it was a clutch moment, it was long overdue. Wan'Dale Robinson finished the game with a season-high 156 receiving yards, while Tyrone Tracy, Isaiah Hodgins, and Theo Johnson also chimed in for some explosive plays. The Giants had 517 let's go, yards of total offense, over 395, which came through the air. Amik Robertson, in particular, was victimized for over 100 passing yards, inarguably his worst outing of the year. The Giants' receivers were wide open far too often, a combination of too much time in the pocket for Winston and poor pass coverage from the defenders, which really sucks because I was sitting here last week talking about how Amik Robertson is a wide receiver 1 killer. Loser, BB32. Football is a physical sport, and it is only natural that a defender will get dinged for an illegal hit over the course of a season. 1 is random. 2 is a coincidence, 3 is a trend. For Brian Branch, we are well beyond trend setting. Branch has been fined 4 times during the 25 season alone, and a 5th fine is likely in the mail. In the first quarter, Brian Branch launched himself into Wan'Dale Robinson in a helmet-to-helmet collision. The play drew a flag and helped the Giants put a field goal on the board. Over the course of his career, Brian Branch has been fined 5 times for helmet-related infractions, as well as miscellaneous fines for taunting, fighting, and hit on a defensive receiver. The fact is obvious. Branch is not learning from his mistakes. These plays are not just costing Branch's bank account, they are costing Lions field position, and if the trend continues, potentially a starter. The NFL has not shied away from pushing repeat offenders and going forward. Branch will be one bad hit away from an ejection and or suspension. Branch was once viewed as a surefire extension candidate. But how much would the team be willing to spend on a player incurring illegal and reckless hits on a weekly basis? Coupled with the coverage taking a step back in 2025, he was on the hook for a few of the Giants' deep shots. The Lions will have a difficult decision to make regarding Branch and his contract. As for Branch himself, he needs to clean up his game. It might be too late to shake the label. Winner and loser, Thomas Harper filling in for Kirby Joseph. Harper was brought in as a safety during roster cuts, but he has stepped up following the absence of Kirby Joseph at deep safety. Sunday's start against the Giants was perhaps his worst of the season in terms of coverage. He was credited with a touchdown allowed. But he made up for it with an interception at a pivotal moment in the fourth quarter. In particular, it came against Robinson, a player that had been carving up the Lions' secondary. Sure, it led to a 3-and-out. The Lions' offensive woes are not Harper's fault. The Lions needed a big play, and Harper delivered. It's on the offense to capitalize. That being said, Harper cannot get a full stock up here. He had the aforementioned touchdown grab in which he lost containment on a Robinson trick play, and also lost tight end Theo Johnson on a massive 39-yard catch that covered a 3rd and 17. Excuse me. Big loser. Jameson Williams. After 3 big games in a row, it appeared as though Williams had cemented himself as the go-to option in the offense, especially with tight end Sam Laporta out for extended time. Instead, Williams fell to earth for yet another blanked stat line. Williams was targeted 3 times, but failed to corral any of them. A pair of those incompletions were credited as drops, yet another Lions receiver struggling to hold on to the ball. Might I introduce Jameson Williams to the jugs machine? The statistical whiplash is hard to comprehend for Williams. One week, his speed is on full display as he turns small plays into big ones. The next week, his involvement in the offense is minimal at best. Feeding Gibbs and St. Brown has been the status quo for the Lions, but it is still surprising to see Williams missing in action like this. I will add an asterisk to that. He did have a big play in the second half that got called back on an illegal man downfield. Graham Glasgow. You can't be running 30 yards downfield, my guy. Big winner, Jack Fox. Well, and Jake Bates. Jack Fox. It was a modest day for Jack Fox. Amid some offensive struggles, but he did his part in stymieing the Giants' offense. No, not on defense, but purely with his punts. Fox's 5 punts, 4 of them were down within the 20-yard line. After Lions punt, the Giants' starting field position was the 8, the 10, the 12, originally down to the 26, but pushed back for a holding penalty, the 7, and the 8-yard lines. Damn, Jack Fox! Holy crapper. Yo, look, I know we're getting hype about a punter, but holy crappers, Jack Fox. Yo, the limited amount of times that we need to use him in the season, when we do roll him out there, look at that. 8, 10, 12, 7, 8. Oh. That's absolutely awesome. Praising the punter isn't something you normally do on a losing team. There's a few other positives besides kicking the ball away. However, today was the perfect example of why good punting matters regardless of the circumstances. And the other big winner was Jake Bates before Gibbs ran away with the win in overtime. It was Bates that got Detroit in the first place. His 59-yard field goal came in the waning moments of the game to set an NFL career long. Somehow knuckling its way outside the upright, then curving back in. His other 37-yarder was more routine, but this was still a good outing for a kicker who had a few tough weeks. He has been a little up and down, and that 59-yarder just kind of was like, yeah, getting him back on the right track. And, of course, the biggest loser, Derek Barnes. While Barnes valiantly sniffed out the trick play to Winston, leaving his own responsibilities to try and stop the play, he got bullied by the backup quarterback for 20 yards after the catch and run en route to a touchdown. It's not worth discussing the rest of his day. 6 tackles. This one play was completely inexcusable. Yeah, I guess that wasn't his man to cover, but dude, you can't let Jameson Williams bully you, bro. You can't. You just can't do that, bro. We're going to take one last walk through Mad Hatter Nation. Colon's name is Cologne. Gotcha. I've been saying it Colon, so it's pronounced Cologne. Never said I was great at reading. Bates should have gotten a game ball. Yeah, Jay, I think he would have, but when you look at those punt numbers on Jack Fox, those are some pretty impressive numbers. Half of Goff's INTs are from deflections from the line or other off-wide receivers' hands. Art, you are completely correct, dude. So you can't really, not necessarily fault him for that. American Boxer, what's up, dude? I think I remember you from a different name, though. There's something else missing, and I think it's coming from the coaching. Lack of usage of Montgomery and Jameson Williams on offense and Muhammad on defense. So, American Boxer, you're kind of noticing it too, huh? That there's something going on. Some fuckery is afoot. It's going to be a great day when Manu takes the ball from the 5-yard line and shuts up the naysayers. Dude, Carey, I'd love to see Manu line up at the fullback spot, dude. I'm starting to wonder if Amik plays certain wide receivers well, the bigger body wide receivers, but struggles with small, shifty wide receivers. Yeah, dude. That could be, dude, because Wandell was cooking him. But you see he's able to, like, really interfere and really mess up Justin Jefferson. You know, that's a really good observation, Nick. I really like that. Gibbs is priority for extension, 100%, Rick. You make him the highest paid running back in football. JMO, fortunately, is a body catcher. Doesn't have natural hands. Nick, you're completely correct, dude. Teaching my 8-year-old to get his hands out and catch the ball. You got to get at the hands, and you're right. JMO does this. He does the body catches, dude. He doesn't turn his hands out and grab that sumbitch. He waits for it to come to him. You're 100% right, dude. Damn, Nick. Damn, brother. Amik is better with the slower receivers. Can't keep up. Yeah, dude. Amik just doesn't quite have that fifth gear, dude. Yeah, you're not. This is my Mr. Obvious comment. Hi, Mr. Obvious. First-time caller, long-time listener. Hi, how you doing, caller? Thanks for calling the Mr. Obvious show. Jay, but he did it with Devonta Smith and Jefferson. He did do well with, but that's the thing though is I guess Devonta Smith is pretty fast. I was gonna say I would just as an eye check. Now smaller guys have the illusion of being faster. I would, though, say that Wan'Dale Robinson is probably faster than Devonta Smith and Justin Jefferson. But that's just my observation. I just watched Wan'Dale play yesterday. You know what I mean? I didn't watch too much of the Eagles game. Pardon me. Overuse of any one player is asking for injury. You are completely correct, Kerry. It's why we got to lean on Monty a little bit, dude. Gave up a touchdown on Jefferson, but was a great throw and catch. That's true, Nick. That's true. There's only so much you can do. You know what I'm saying? True. He also went down last week for a little while, so doesn't have a lingering injury. Hey, Jay, you're not wrong. He did get a little dinged up. I guess what it comes down to is every player is going to have their ups and downs. You know, Meek's not going to be perfect every game. But if I had to have my choice between Terry Reed or Amik Robertson, Rock Yassin, and Arthur Mollett, I'm going to go with Terrion Arnold, DJ Reed, and Amik Robertson. And that's nothing against Rock Yassin or Arthur Mollett. They're just, Rock's getting flagged for PIs now all the time. Arthur Mollett, you're understanding why he's a journeyman in the league. Good at times, but not great. And we're kind of having to play Amik a little bit out of where we wanted to play him, kind of having to roll him out to the outside a little bit more. I think he was originally this year was more planned to be a slot corner guy, get a little bit more physical. But luckily we do have a lot of guys that can move around and play. Some of them play better, some of them play worse. Terrion stepping up lately, called him Terrion Okuda for a while, but he earned his name back. Nick, dude. My guy, bro, you were right. And prior to the injury, I was a little concerned with him. I had started to broach the subject of, was Terrion Arnold a bust? I wasn't willing to go full into that, but we did have to start having that thought exercise because, yeah, I agree with you, dude. He was not playing well. But like last year, out of the bye week, he was able to turn it around and play pretty well. Coming off the injury, he got his first career interception. Yeah, he got dinged up, had concussion protocol for a little bit. Sounds like we're just being safe, holding him out for one more game. I fully expect Terrion Arnold to continue to ascend, to follow the trend of ascension. Now the trick for him is going to be maintaining that level of play through the offseason and continuing to stack and climb wherever he left off last year, because I think it was rather obvious. Last year he was playing better the back half of the season and then came in this year. Couldn't keep his dirty little dick beaters off of wide receivers, getting all the PI calls, looking like early rookie year Terrion Arnold. Then he got hurt. The bye week, the injury, come back, played pretty well, got hurt again. So hopefully, I think he's on the right track. I like Terrion Arnold. I want Terrion Arnold to succeed. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I think I was a little bit more hesitant to start calling the bust title out on him, but some guys already were. And I was like, well, it's worth having that thought exercise and that conversation, It's hard for his haters to admit, but the secondary is better with TA out there. It is. And the thing is, Rick, is you're 100% right. It is hard for people to admit. And the thing is Terrion Arnold is asked to do a lot. He's asked to go out there and just be left on an island, and corner is one of the harder positions to transfer or transition into in the NFL. he played really well. The problem is that when he wouldn't play well, it was very glaring. The thing is like, especially his last game before the concussion, the only time he heard his name getting called was when he had the interception. And that's the type of game you want to have. There wasn't the PIs. There wasn't the illegal contacts, the defensive holding. There wasn't the bullshit. He wasn't even being targeted, And TA, I think he's really playing well. I think he's going to continue to ascend. I think he's finally figured it out. And now once we roll him out there Thursday, I think we're due for a TA interception on Thursday, boys and girls. Now, if Kirby Joseph plays on Thursday, we're due for a multiple Kirby Joseph interception game is what we're due for. So maybe not a TA interception game because Kirby's going to be out there grabbing every single pass thrown his way. But I'm very pleased with where TA left off, pre-concussion. I just need him to come back and continue to play and stack good games on top of each other. I think he's got all the skill, and I think he's got the build to be a dominant corner in the NFL. I'm a big TA fan. I really am. All right, guys. Well, we went a little bit late today. Totally didn't cover the national news segments. We just kind of said, yeah, the Raiders fired Chip Kelly. No surprise there. We bailed on the biggest takeaways and overreactions. We read the New York Post breakdown of the Giants and Lions game, getting a little bit of a New York Giants perspective of it before walking on over to the DetroitLions.com. Tim, 20-man senior beat writer for DetroitLions.com, had Week 12 observations and how the Lions were dominant in the back end, at least when it mattered. When it mattered, the Lions were dominant. I wish we could play Madden every single game. But a W is a W, and we can nitpick it. But this is the beautiful thing. This is the beautiful thing about this Thursday night game, guys. Short turnaround. So tomorrow maybe we'll touch on this game a little bit, but then we got to shift focus and start getting ready for the Packers. Short memory, bask in the glory of the win. It was Victory Monday. It is Victory Monday, okay, so we can walk around with our heads up high and our chests out a little bit. Despite all of the ugliness, a W is a W, and winning is the best deodorant. So build on the bad, forget about it, get better, continue to ascend on the good, get everybody healthy, locked in and loaded. We have a massive divisional game Thursday. A massive game. This game could be the linchpin to us getting in or out of the playoffs. It really could come down to this game. I said we have to win out. I won't feel comfortable with our postseason projections unless we are just winning every single game. I need to win out from now until the Super Bowl. That's what I need from the Detroit Lions. Problem is Terrian being compared to Quinion, who is primarily zone plays, and TA is an island man. Jack, you're 100% right. Pick 6 on Thanksgiving. Jack, I'm hope for it. Nick, I think you are right. Problem is Terrian being, and that's the thing, he's getting compared to Quinion, who Quinion plays in a zone scheme with a lot of other guys that really are meant to do. They all play complementary football out there in Philly on defense. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, he's always going to be compared to Quinion because they were arguably the top 2 corners in the draft. But you're right. We're comparing apples and oranges because Quinion is a zone cover corner and TA is a man cover corner. Trying too hard to get that first interception. Now he has one. Maybe it'll change him into a better player. Jay, you see, that's kind of what I was talking about with Amon-Ra, that 500 catches. Once you get that mental barrier gone, everything follows a lot easier and a lot more smoothly. So I expect a lot of big things out of TA moving forward. Hopefully we get to see him Thursday. I'd really like to see a full arsenal on the secondary Thursday against the Packers. I do want to say shout out to each and every one of you who took part in the poll. How we feeling after yesterday's thriller? 78% of the 27 votes. Wow, 27 votes. That was very impressive, guys. 78% of you say a W is a W. 22% of you say WTF Barnes. And 0% of us say wild card win, divisional exit. So we are still pretty high on the Super Bowl aspirations. Quinion is doing great. Don't get me wrong, though. Oh, no, he's a great corner. It's just we're comparing two, like you said, one's a zone cover and one's a man cover. So they both do what they do well, but you can't compare the two per se. You can compare them on run coverage, tackling, pass breakups, that type of stuff. But scheme is entirely different. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Sam Armstrong? How you doing, brother, dude? Gibby, baby, let's go. Sam, have you been gone for a while, dude? Brother, good to see you, man. Good to see you. I was going to say, I feel like I haven't said your name in a while, dude. Good to see you, bro. All right, guys, that's going to be it for today. hopefully you have a good rest of your Monday, and it's a short week. So we just got to slalom around Monday, slalom around Tuesday, and then we're going to launch ourselves off as we fly into the holiday weekend on Wednesday. Let's get after it, boys and girls. Have a good rest of your day. Stay out of trouble. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. We will catch you back right here tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. for a little bit of preview action of the Green Bay Packers and just kind of chewing the fat, talking maybe a little Monday Night Football action, see how things shake out. Not a very exciting game, if I'm being honest. Not a game I've got circled and I'm like, I got to watch it. So, guys, we will catch you tomorrow. All right? I've been Hat and Beard. You've been an attentive audience. Until then, bonga bonga. Frig off.